Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are here for a Taos Municipal School Board of Education special board meeting. Today is Monday, April 22nd, 2024. For the record, it is 11:42 a.m. I would like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you please get a roll call?
Member Concha, Member King,
Here.
Secretary Trujillo. Here. Vice President Spray,
Present.
President Flores.
Present, and for the record, I did speak with Board Member Concha. She's gonna be running a little bit late, but does plan to join us at some point in time. Right, the next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please stand, I'll lead us in pledge. Pledge of allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Land acknowledgement statement. It is respectful to recognize the unique and enduring relationship that exists between indigenous people and their traditional territories. We acknowledge that we are on the historic homeland of the Red Willow people within the original territory of Taos Pueblo. This acknowledgement will oblige as a reminder of our ongoing efforts to respectfully recognize, honor, reconcile, and partner with the Red Willow people whose land and water we benefit from in this great valley today. Item E is approval of the meeting agenda. Are there any proposed amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, I will go ahead and make a motion to approve the meeting agenda as presented.
Second.
Got a second from Vice President Cynthia. Get a roll call, please.
Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
Vice President Spray.
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Before we move along to item F, executive session, I just want to acknowledge that we have one of our finalists in the audience today, Dr. Antonio Layton. I want to thank you for joining us. We will be entering into executive session to meet and continue interviewing Dr. Layton. So item F is executive session. F1 is pursuant to NMSA section 10-15-1 H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, limited personnel matters, specifically F1A, with search consultant and legal counsel advice, continue to review and discuss applicant information. Item F1B, interview superintendent finalists. F1C, discuss and deliberate regarding superintendent contract terms. F1D, engage in contract negotiations with one or both superintendent finalists. Entertain a motion to enter the executive session.
Second.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session, and we have a second for board member King. You please call for the roll.
Member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo.
Yes.
Vice President Spray.
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes.
Can I get a time, please?
Yes, thank you. 11:45. Board has now exited executive session. For the record, it is 4:40 p.m. The board entered into executive session at 11:45 a.m. Item F1, executive session pursuant to NMSA section 10-15-1 H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, limited personnel matters, specifically F1A, with search consulting and legal counsel advice, review and discuss applicant information. So the board did have a lunch meeting with one of the finalists where we did conduct continued interviews and discuss applicant information. Item F1B, interview superintendent finalist. The board met for lunch and interviewed the finalist. F1C, discuss and deliberate regarding superintendent contract terms. Contract terms discussion did occur, no decision made. F1D, engage in contract negotiations with one or both superintendent finalists. The board has not determined a superintendent finalist as of today, so there was no engagement in contract negotiations. Moving along to item G, a public comment. There's nobody from the public here, so we will go public comment. Item H, new business. H1 is select new Taos Municipal School Superintendent. The board will conduct a special meeting tomorrow where we will meet, interview, and discuss with our finalist, our interim superintendent, Mrs. Renetta Mondragon. Item H2, approves superintendent contract, including contract terms. Contract is to be negotiated upon final decision by the board. H3, authorize JG Consulting to proceed and notify unsuccessful finalists. The board has one interview to conduct, and a decision will be made tomorrow afternoon. Item H4,
Or evening, don't be so optimistic.
or evening, come on. Item H4, board discussion to close out any superintendent search business, including possible action to approve partial or full reimbursement of finalist travel expense to the extent permitted by the NM procurement code. So for the board's, information, Mrs. Gallegos, we did request a request to reimburse the finalists, is that?
Right, so, if the board recalls, there was an early discussion in the process of the search about whether the board was gonna reimburse semifinalist travel. And so, of course, the number of semifinalists wasn't known. But at that point, the sentiment of the board was not to reimburse semifinalist travel. So it never, based on just the sentiment of it, it never went to a decision to reimburse. And so then JG Consulting did reach out to me to inquire whether the board might consider some sort of, it could be a partial reimbursement, it could be a capped reimbursement, or it could be a full reimbursement as permitted under, within the limits of the procurement code. The finalist travel expenses. Well, as you know, one of your finalists is in-house, so there would be travel expense there, but the other finalist, as you know, the expectation was that semifinalists and finalists be here in person. So that person has incurred two trips at his own expense unless you reimburse, unless you possibly reimburse the finalist expenses. So I think the question on the table with this item, as I understood it, was might the board consider not the semifinalist reimbursement portion, but the finalist reimbursement portion of some amount.
And so this item was presented to me as board president. I did consult with our executive secretary. She reviewed the minutes and provided me with a copy, and they were also approved in the last board meeting. And in those meetings, it does state where the board discussed because JG brought forward, kind of the outline of our superintendent search. And if we were to reimburse finalists at that point in time, the board at that meeting agreed not to pay for reimbursement. So we did not vote to no, and we did not vote a yes. In this instance, there is a possibility, once everything finalizes tomorrow, that we have one out-of-state finalist. If that individual is not chosen, would the board want to think about reimbursing them their full travel expense, a capped travel expense, or a partial travel expense?
Question, President Flores, for just this trip to do this interview today or for both trips?
I believe it just be this
Just
trip.
this one?
Yes.
Okay.
What's this? I said, what's our, what's permitted in the Mexico procurement code?
I would have to defer, I know that if you're doing a, out-of-state reimbursement, there's procurement code provisions for that. So I don't have those memorized. I would, if you were gonna pass a motion for as permitted under the procurement code, that's how I would pass that motion. If you wanted to cap it, what I can tell you, and I would obviously at this point, any decision should be regardless of who you pick for superintendent. But really the issue is, is do you want the out-of-state finalists to pay, because the semifinalists, there's not gonna be reimbursed for.
Right.
So do you wanna reimburse the second trip is really the question, and if so, to what extent?
Yeah, can we get
Let me give you what,
a dollar amount?
I didn't, I'll have to look at that, just a second.
And then another option would be for, to possibly table this item, to be a part of tomorrow's final discussions, and kind of decide, when we decide everything tomorrow. So we could just table this item and,
Okay, I'll go for that.
Yeah, we're gonna table it then.
Do you want me to give you the dollar amount that was, it's his expense, just so you
Yes.
can begin thinking about it?
Yes, please, thank you.
Okay, I thought I had an email, but let me check my text. Okay, so, your finalist candidate, out-of-state candidate is, just so you know what he's incurred, his first round cost him $885.42. If you remember, I think he said he was coming from the West Coast. His second round, it looked like it was gonna be, $1,021. So again, you could allow as permitted, under the procurement code, and then your finance department would figure that out. Or you could do, as permitted by the procurement code, but not to exceed, if you wanted to make sure it didn't go above a certain amount. Or you could decide not to do it at all. Those would be three ways to me that would be logical in terms of the motion.
so would it, what include?
Does that include the travel and the
Hotel.
hotel?
That's my understanding of that
Yes.
estimate,
Yes, that's okay.
1,021.
So, part of the discussion at our initial meeting was that if these individuals who wanted to be here, that they would pay their way, to get here. That's, I guess, regards to the semifinalists. Now, we decided on the two finalists. I'm not sure if the board still has that same sentiment, or if they would wanna do a full reimbursement, or maybe a partial reimbursement. I would be amenable to, partial reimbursement. But something to discuss, I guess, and think about, and we could table this for tomorrow.
Think about it, because then we will know.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to table item 4H4
Second?
until for tomorrow's meeting. We have a second from Vice President Cynthia. Please call for the roll.
Member Concha,
Yes.
member King,
Yes,
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
Vice President Spray,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes. Item I, upcoming topics and meetings. So tomorrow we'll be doing our final finalist interview with interim superintendent Renee Montejuan. Item I2, a regular board meeting, May 8th, 2024 at Ranchos Elementary School. Then a regular board meeting, May 22nd, 2024 at Arroyos del Norte Elementary. The board will be meeting here tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. And
Till 11:30 p.m. Just kidding.
we will be,
Look at her.
we will be having lunch at Martyrs. And
Reservations for 12 o'clock.
I have a question, President.
yes, sir.
And our meetings on, I2 and 3 are 6, right? O'clock?
Yes,
Board
sir.
meetings.
Yes, I'm sorry, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Okay, item J, adjournment, so move to adjourn.
Second?
Call for the roll.
Member Concha,
Yes.
member King,
Yes.
Secretary Trujillo,
Yes.
Vice President Spray,
Yes.
President Flores.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, board.
Thank you. And thank you again, Lana, for being so generous today.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Naomi.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Tomorrow. Here.
Hasta la pasta.
Yeah.
Take your zinc.
Yeah. take yours.
I will.
It makes you feel-
Bye, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't miss much. Gosh, I can't believe I went to my closing meeting.
But I can-
Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything.
No, if the board's asking.